glorious. Oh.
And it's still true. 2 months later, and it's still true. I really like, so over the course of this, that our enthusiasm has not diminished at all. What was the most rewarding part of starting You're Invited? So, Rachel, what do you think was the most rewarding part?
Oh, the Friday morning hug. Just being able to see everyone that I've missed so much, and to feel part of an active community where I can really, like emotionally, I'm like, oh, I don't think I could have gotten through the last few months without You're Invited, because it has just been such a glow in my week.
As this shelter in place has gone on, I have absolutely was becoming more and more withdrawn from and feeling so much more cut out from the game community. And what this has done is that, remembering all the people out there who I miss and care about also miss each other, and being able to have this every Friday it's the same. It's having that to look forward to so that I can kind of visit with everybody. Gives me a focus for the week and something to look forward to going into the weekend. And even having, I know like everybody's like, time is meaningless anymore, nothing matters, and
it's a good cap to the week.
It actually gives structure to my week, which was starting to get really out there.
Good morning, friends and gamers on the interwebs.
Good morning.
I want to say hi. And I'm Rachael Blaske.
And I'm Julie Ahern.
And this is episode, that's what, 11?
11.
11 of You're Invited. And in this episode, Julie, VP and COO of Greenbrier Games, and myself, VP of Channel Marketing for White Wizard Games, will chat over a good cup of coffee and talk about the tabletop industry news, as well as a topic that we feel is important, an important part of running a board game company, all the while discussing your comments and questions in the live chat, because you're invited.
This episode is brought to you by XYZ Game Labs, who's making 2020 suck less with their holiday sale that is live right now until December 15th. And you can get 50% off your order with the code INVITED at shop.xyzgamelabs.com.
Yes.
Also sponsoring us, we have Kids Table Board Gaming. Their game Creature Comforts is live on Kickstarter, and it is way past funded and getting a lot of stretch goals right now. In Creature Comforts, you work over several months to prepare your family home for winter. You collect resources, exchange goods in the market, get a helping hand from visiting travelers, craft comforts, build improvements, and create a home that will get you through the cold winter months to come.
And this season, we're sharing the love with others if you share the love with us. So for every share of our posts, we will give back your generosity to us with a donation to our community. And for me, it's Great Plains Gaming Project. And for Julie, it is Girls Inc. Indie.
Yeah. Girls Inc. Indie program is a program that's free for girls, and the goal that they have is to free girls from gender stereotypes, truly allowing them to be themselves. They empower girls to be confident in their own skin, prepare for their futures, be proud of who they are, and be ready to take their place in the world. They partner with schools, community organizations, and offer a lot of education. So for this week, because we're alternating weeks, for the shares and likes that you do, for each one, I'll be donating $1.
Awesome. And so we're going to give you time right now. And if it wasn't clear before, if you click the little share button on the screen there and share the stream, then that's what your plan is for right now. So you got 10 seconds. Let's go. Awesome. I love it. We're so organized. So we got some tabletop news for you.
That's right. We do. So this week in the news, we actually, as publishers, have talked about earlier that now on Amazon, you can see who the people are who are selling. And that is a great thing for a publisher who's got retailers who are putting on sales. And what we've learned is that recently there are a group of retailers who have been selling online and not doing best practices.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a small group of retailers, and I'm not, this is not a scathing report of all retailers out there. There are plenty that are doing amazing things, and right. I know that this is a difficult time for many of them as well. However, what has been happening is there have been a small group of retailers who have been, as soon as a game is announced, going on for pre-sales and posting the cost at double the amount before anybody else can post, because they're not actually available for sale yet. And then switching their price to, charging twice the amount, almost like scalping, because they put in their order for pre-sales so they can promise a certain amount. And then as soon as it actually is released, dropping immediately the sale price to half the amount of what the actual MSRP is. So, if you are a publisher, you should probably just be checking your Amazon, what's happening on Amazon, and be on top of that. And remember that we can now see who's doing these practices. And so letting the retailers who are doing that, letting them know that that's actually hurting the industry as a whole. And that, yes, it may be difficult times, but that's not acceptable practices. So that's something that's happening in the news. Usually I like giving good news. This wasn't a good week for that. So
no, I mean, it was Happy Thanksgiving. Okay. So if you click the three dots in the upper right-hand corner of your screen, you can choose to be notified every time we go live. And we also have the link to our YouTube account in the description box below. So you can subscribe and find our archive shows after streaming.
Yeah.
Now, this is an exciting topic today. I'm pretty pumped. And I told Julie this morning, I'm like, there's very few times where I wake up and I have this burning question in my head. But I want to know, and this isn't even the question that we put out for the week. I want to know if you're a vendor. What the heck is that?
Vendor. We're in a sci-fi show now.
No, that was
far
Lord
away.
Of the Rings right there. Vendor. Okay, if you're a vendor, I would like you to put in the comments right now, what is your Black Friday sale that you have going on your products? I know that when we decide what to do for a Black Friday sale, often it includes like what you've got a lot of in inventory, or if you've planned out something ahead of time. I would love to know what your jam is for today. So in addition to, what did you do to prepare for it? So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about today. So I want to see
So if you share your links, we'll know what you did do to prepare for it. Yeah. But also it gives us the opportunity to go and maybe do a little shopping.
I know, right? That's true.
It's been actually, I posted this earlier in the week. It's been, my research for this week has been brutal, because I'm like, ooh, and no, Julie, no, yes. You're just here for research. Stop trying to buy all the things. It was a tough week.
Right.
But I did have a lot of information that I did want to share. So
cool.
I think for most of the people out there watching that are fellow publishers, a lot of this is already going to be like established information. But in case it isn't, it's a useful guideline. And I would like to say that this is absolutely there's not a hard and fast rule, but this is a pretty good guideline for some broad strokes of information as a resource.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, the dates and times and numbers that I'm going to share can change if you have a relationship, if you're new to a relationship with another business, in a B2B or for mass market, if you're new to them versus if you have a well-established relationship. Also, if it's a new product versus an evergreen established product. So there's wiggle room for all of this, but I'm just going to give some broad strokes. And I'm doing a baseline timeline of how sales work before we talk about Black Friday sales because of what you said, the end result being what's available for your sales on Black Friday. You have to start planning for all of that up to a year in advance. So right now, you should be starting your plans for next Black Friday. So here goes. I'm going to start with mass market. For mass market, when you are going to do holiday sales, you're starting a year in advance. Mm-hmm. So if you were going to try to get a game into Target, Barnes & Nobles, actually Target and Barnes & Nobles, maybe Books A Million, but primarily Target and Barnes & Nobles right now is when you've already had your meeting. You had your meeting before Thanksgiving with them for next year's holiday sales. And by holiday sales, because that is what they call them, I'm meaning of October through December. So you're planning for it now. So you've had your meetings with them already to talk about what games you plan to have in the market for next year. So if you don't have a game that's ready and you know for sure will be available to be in the market for next year, that is not a game you want to bring up to mass market, because if you don't, then they're not going to return your calls a second time.
Right. They want to make sure that you have enough product to fulfill what you're trying to sell, right?
Right. So, and also, so Barnes & Noble's holiday is October through December. It's, they will, I'll get into when they actually let you know versus when you have your meeting for it. But they want the product in the warehouse by about July.
Dang.
Yeah. For spring, for the record, if you want their spring line, you have your meeting around now, or they're letting you know around now, and they want it in the warehouse by early January.
Mm-hmm.
So you've already met. You meet biannually for Barnes & Nobles. They would take meetings, and they meet to talk about a year in advance. But then in the subsequent meeting, when they're talking about the next year, they'll let you know about the previous meetings, yes or no, if that makes sense.
Oh, mass market.
Okay. Target, they will meet with you about when you're out. So you've already met. They'll let you know if you've been awarded one of their product lines about February, and they'll want it in the warehouse by about June, July for holiday sales. Books A Million will meet actually a little bit later. They give you a little bit you don't need to be, so it's February and March for the holiday sales, and it's about September, October for the spring sales. So they give you less of that they lead planning time. And that's about the same also actually, and Kohl's and Meijer are actually late summer for the holiday sales. So they're even a shorter window for wanting to do the sales. So that's your timeline for most mass market. And then if you can get Walmart, you let me know how you made that happen.
Word.
I
make some calls.
Yeah. Haven't successfully worked that one out.
Nice.
So for Amazon, you're usually having a March meeting for the holiday sales. So about the same time as your Books A Million. Okay. So think of it that way. If you group Barnes & Noble and Target together, your meetings to talk about holiday sales, you're doing it a year in advance. Books A Million and Amazon, it's about March for holiday sales. And then Kohl's and Meijer, it's more like late summer, about Gen Con time. Yeah. For holiday sales. So if you group them that way, you can plan things out.
Right. So when you're thinking like in the before times when we had conventions, like you would be trying to connect with these reps at these conventions.
Probably, although they have probably pre-scheduled. So if that's the case, you're reaching out to them at least a month in advance because they're booked, and they usually have an agent to take them to different places that's scheduled. So you're going to want to get on their calendar well in advance.
Right.
They're not going to be available for just a drop-in chat. So yes, that is absolutely true. Absolutely. And then the rule of thumb, though, is so if you're doing that, you're having a meeting a year in advance about a product line.
Right. You're
talking about specific numbers and trying to get them to agree to specific, or let them know what the numbers is, or at least when they agree to it, what the number will be. And you're doing that in advance to try to plan, because a year in advance, but 5 months before the sale, before the game goes live, whenever it's available, is when they're going to, so 6 to 5 months is when they're going to let you know whether there's a yes or no. I'm talking about the Barnes & Noble's Target. But they're going to want 2 months from that point, so 3 months before it's actually available, for it to be in their warehouse. So you're already having to gauge from that meeting whether you think it's going to be a yes or a no, to do projections for the numbers of product that you have available if you're doing mass market, and still trying to have enough for retail, for hobby, and for your own personal sales, but not over jumping it in case they say no. So you really also have to get a feel for, did that seem to go well? Did they seem to be like, eh?
Yeah.
And you have to be able to deliver when they want it, once they say yes, which means it's already had to be in manufacturing and being shipped.
Whew.
So
you're scary this morning. I'm afraid.
Sharing information so that you know what you're getting yourself into when you do this. So all of that is important, because all of that has happened by the time you get to Black Friday sales. But I'm not done yet, because we also have to talk about hobby. So hobby is a little bit easier, because you're dictating when things are going to be released rather than being dictated to with the mass market. But that, and you could speak to this as well, about ideally for what retail distribution would like, 120 days, so 4 months in advance. They want to know that a product is going to be released on. So you're planning the release date 4 months in advance. At least 90 days in advance, a sell sheet that gives them the images, the MSRP, all the basic information and the basic selling points.
Yeah, I think that
2 to 6 players, 30 minutes.
Right.
Ages 8 and up, all that stuff, at least 90 days in advance. So not just the name and maybe a title, and the announcement, but about 90 days in advance.
Right.
And then you start so that you can start your marketing for it as well.
Right. So what we were kind of talking about then is when I got into things, I asked, like, what is the difference between a full solicitation and a short solicitation? And I always thought that it was a difference in components of, provided, like, you needed different information, but no, really it's talking about the timeline. How much do you have? I know, I love what Jim said. He's like, can you say that all again? This is probably the first time, but we're actually going to have like a downloadable thing that we're going to be able to write up and people can download or something like that, because Julie's
timeline, I have to write it, I have to type it. I'm going to have to type it, because this is a hot mess.
You should just put that up.
Yeah.
Read my
But yes, I can.
Yeah.
So
and go ahead.
Yes.
I wanted to, I guess my main thing was that solicitations are time oriented. So like, if you are going to get an announcement out to hobby, you're going to do it 120 days ahead. You're going to do data entry, information and assets by like 90 days, 60 days, You can do a pre-order highlight in some of their publications, and then they're not going to cut a PO to you till like 30 days out, and they want the your product in their warehouse around 2 weeks out, which is very different than mass market, and because of the volume that they're dealing with and things like that. So I think that that's an interesting point when you start to think about marketing, because you need to back it up even further. When you've got 120 days that you're announcing, if we're putting that into something, so like say right now, they just, for like a lot of the distributor publications, they are working on January's issue right now. It is they have probably just hit their deadline. Anything that is going into their January issues is done. Now, if you're in a January issue, it's because you're telling your retailers that you've got something coming in March. So you got to, and so that means that you've already had all of that prepared for probably a month in your marketing documentation and getting ads made up and writing editorials and things like that. So you are so much further out. So if you want to work on something like a March release for marketing, you should have been writing that at the end of October. Correct. So a lot of this is just to try and explain the lead time that you should be dealing with when you're dealing with these ridiculous sales.
And then the game itself should be in the warehouse 30 to 45 days before you actually have the release. It shouldn't be like showing up and shoving it out the door, so that you have that, and you should be planning for it to be that, because you know that things can go wrong, and you might have to shorten that window. Or you have to push back suddenly, and all your marketing and all your sales and all that careful preparation is like, just kidding, it's now a month later. Sorry. And that happens, but you want to try to do enough to mitigate that doesn't. So why is all this important for Black Friday sales?
Because tie it in.
All right. Because Black Friday sales, you have to have the product available that you're doing the sale on.
Oh, I have to have it? What?
So you have to plan all of this and then, hope that at least 85% of it goes correct. And that's optimistic.
Welcome to entrepreneurship. Got it?
And then, so did all those meetings with all those mass market go well, and you actually are at a deficit of product because they wanted it all? Or did some of them go well and some of them didn't? So you have a whole lot of extra that you're like, well, maybe that should be a sale at Black Friday because I have a lot more
extra inventory
that I didn't plan for. Is it an evergreen? Is it a game that does well? Is it something that is new and relatively unseen, but there's a lot of hype for? There isn't a lot of hype. These are all factors. Mm-hmm. But let me get back into the actual pragmatic nuts and bolts of it. So if you're doing a Black Friday sale with mass market, they're going to solicit that about it. They're going to ask you about 2 months before Black Friday sales, a month to 2 months. So they actually only aren't giving you a lot of lead time for it. And that's on purpose because they're going to pressure you into making a quick decision because they're going to want vendor funding. And what I mean by vendor funding is they've already paid for the games that they are selling. They have committed to purchasing a certain amount. When they put it on sale, whether it's a clearance sale or a Black Friday sale, they're asking you to pay the offset of what they're lowering the cost for because they've already bought and paid for their copies. Right. So they're charging you back the amount that they are giving to the customer. So what I'm saying to at least new people is don't feel pressured to say yes. Don't.
Right.
You can say no. Unless you signed a very unforgiving contract. So also read your contracts very carefully. There are a couple different types of things to think about when you're doing it. Like if if the amount is going to break even and it's driving up their metrics to buy more for the next quarter, so you actually break even, so the amount that they paid you in the first place and now you're paying it back, that might be worth it to drive sales so that it is now perceived as a much more, like it's more of an evergreen. You've now increased the longevity of that game.
Right.
So it might be worth it. If you've made it an exclusive deal, and you can do that a lot of different ways. It doesn't have to be like, maybe you have alternate art on the cover. So it's the same game, but a different, Nyctophobia did a great job with that, where they have the serial killer versus the vampire. So they did a hobby version, they did a mass market version. So they had exclusivity. You can do things like that. Fog of Love had the 3 different covers. So you can do things to make exclusivity without making a whole new game, or saying my game is only for it. You can do different things to make a game exclusive. If you have exclusivity, most contracts will say that there is no back charge. So if they put it on sale, it's on them. That's part of the negotiation for exclusivity. And if you don't know that and they're asking for exclusivity, make sure that you negotiate for that.
Excellent.
And that's not, like I said, it's not just for Black Friday sales. It's also if they decide a game isn't moving and they put it on clearance, they're going to back charge you whatever the clearance offset is.
Right. Barnes & Noble is just notorious for that.
Correct. So just be mindful of that when you're doing sales as well. For hobby, if you're going to do a sale, that means is that a sale to the retailers where they get a discount when they purchase it to pass on to the customers? Did you communicate that well enough so that they know that? Because, or is it just like, they're like, cool, I got a discount, and they're still selling it at full price? Again, also okay. Just know what are you communicating when you say is it on sale on your web store and you're expecting everybody to match it? What are you planning? So just make sure you communicate that when you're doing a sale for hobby. And just like exclusivity is great for contract negotiations, for things like that, for mass market, exclusive, like giving exclusive promo cards, what have you, to your hobby market is super great to help them drive sales and promote something special for a holiday, especially for a special event.
Right.
But you have to get it to them in advance with the information about what it's for. So that whole planning for marketing, making sure that you're communicating that so that you're helping your retailers sell your games so that they sell more of them, so they keep doing that. Right.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So do you have a top tip for this one? Because you are on this morning. Like, wow.
I took notes. I was well prepared.
I wanted to start taking notes, and I was like, no, Rachel, you can watch this back later.
I guess I'm sorry. I kind of monopolized the conversation this morning, but this is something that's important that I don't like. Some people know, some people don't. Some people know parts of it, some people don't. And I want there to be a better understanding, because it's not just, it's so much. And even when you know to do it, because it's so many lead time, it gets away from you. So you suddenly, you're like, wow, a month happened. Yes. So planning, my dad was most famous for that. What's your 1, 5, 10-year plan? Sitting you down and asking you those questions, and you wanted to do the eye roll and be like, I don't know, I just want to live my life, Dad.
Yeah.
But it's sunk in, because I'm saying spend a tiny amount of time every day. Give 15 minutes to go, okay, what should I be doing in a month with this game? 6 months, 12 months. Have I set that up? Do I need to do anything today to set that up? Including what's in front of my face and what's on fire and what I'm reacting to and what the cool things are on social media that I can bounce off of and get energy from. Also, what am I doing to continue the future health of my company? So what is my 1, 6, 12 month projection for a game? And going through your list.
Man, and it is so important to like pay attention to those small bits, and it's so hard because we get so caught up in our day to day, and all of a sudden it's Black Friday. What did you do to prepare for it? So what I am trying to kind of drive home is reverse engineer your timelines. So if your D-Day is Black Friday, then back it up. What do you need to be doing? Back up, back up, back up. So I think that timelines are huge in the growth of your company, because if you are not thinking ahead, you are not growing.
Yeah, no, that's true.
So, man, we've got some good comments because there are smart people here. There are smart, great business people. And one of them is Lauren. I wrote down like 9:38. Wait 1 second. I mean, she did write a lot, and we can handle that on our screen, but I'm going to go ahead and back up just a smidge.
Give some more space.
So that I can at least peek over the top of this knowledge. But right here, see, we can peek up. How did we prepare? They did a full inventory check of products. They added, and Lauren is with XYZ Game Labs, added all the accessories and merchandise like prints, patches, pins, buy shipping materials, set up discount rules, business logic. With every shop change, we had to resync the store with all the channels and email automation and social and websites. And
technology is your friend there, because the size of your company is how much time do you have to dedicate towards this. So having the capacity to either outsource it, to a consolidator, or if you have the numbers and you can hire somebody to do it dedicated to do this, that's great. And if not, get yourself some tech.
Yeah, because I mean, this is Lauren's like day job. Also, she's does digital marketing and things like that. So like this is the pro level, guys. This is what you came to hear today, right? Like this is what you can aspire to be. And I know I'm not there, and we always make lots of mistakes, but I want to keep getting better. So this is why you surround yourself with people who are, when you're the smartest one in the room, you need to change rooms. Like that's what I'm telling you. I mean,
oh my gosh, it's so true. That is exactly what I try, but also when you're talking to somebody and you're the one doing all the talking, which I know is kind of weird because today was the day I was doing all the talking. But
what are you talking about here?
It's my time to stop and start asking questions.
Yeah. I mean, really, it's just like, wow, I have so much to learn. And that's kind of why we do this, is because I learned a lot today. I haven't done a whole lot with mass market myself. And so like, this is really interesting to me. I can do lots of the hobby side of things, but I want to get into that. And with my new job, I'm doing that. But like, this is good information that we can all learn from. And I'm really happy that we're talking about it. Anything else fun? I mean, there's, you guys, I can always tell when we really dig into a meaty topic, because the chat is quiet because they're all like just drinking it in.
There's a lot less silly. Although Phil still managed to
I know. I'm like 1-6-12 with a bottle of scotch. Yes, in days. I'm gonna go with that. Awesome. So I do have a nice little shout out. Let's see. And I didn't tell her, so this is exciting. Miss Katie Randall is here with us today. And if she still is, because I know she always has a meeting right about now, so she's probably jetted now. So this is a surprise. But Katie Randall, if you guys don't know, is the backbone of Exocrate Games.
Yep.
They are makers of British versus Pirates 1 and 2. And she's also game designer of Dragons 9. She is a kind, considerate, and genuine person. Someone who will always have your back if you have lettuce in your teeth, or she'll demo your game. I know, like, dude, oh, good, she's here. She will demo your game if you have to run to the bathroom during a con and you're like shorthanded. She is also one who has everything that you didn't realize you needed. And she's got it, and she'll promote your Kickstarter, regardless of whether or not it is smack dab in the middle of her niche. So if you know Katie, you are better for it. And I think that anybody in the chat should definitely reach out and say hi, because she's amazing. So
True story.
Love you, Katie.
So this week. Hey, guess what? Did you know that the Tales of Barbaria Pledge Manager is open?
What? I did know. Did I hear that?
Yeah.
I love that my transition was supposed to be, so I hear that you opened a Pledge Manager, Julie.
Yeah, I did.
Oh, cool.
So Tales of Barbaria's Pledge Manager is open. Obviously, we all have Black Friday sales, so yes. I have Black Friday sales going on.
What is your percentage? Like, what are you doing? I haven't heard this.
We're Greenbrier Games, so we have the Island of Misfit Toys. So quite a number of our product lines are 50% off today through Cyber Monday. So if you go to the web store, you can jump on, and the featured items that come up are the ones that are on sale. So that's what we're doing through November 30th.
I believe White Wizard is doing 20% off, but then they're also doing, if you buy over $25 as your total, then they're going to donate to Toys for Tots again.
Oh, that's awesome. So to go back to donating, though, it's also my birthday weekend, because Thanksgiving could never just be about Thanksgiving. It also had to get smushed together with my birthday, which was weird. But this year, because I'm doing Girls Inc. Indie, I will be doing for my birthday, donating, so on Facebook, I'll have my little charity up, and that's going to be it. So starting Sunday. So for the week, I'm also focusing on raising money for Girls Inc. Indie. So
excellent. We've got so much fun stuff going on.
That's my birthday present to myself.
Well, and next week, we're going to talk more on the product cycle. We're going to talk about playtesting and how to keep it organized, how do you keep the process moving and documented, and keep improving your product before it becomes a game.
I spent a lot of time on playtesting, and so I'm really excited for next week too, but I promise I'll try not to monopolize the whole time.
I'll keep you in check this time.
Perfect.
Excellent. Oh, I love it. Oh, man, it's so good to see everyone. I'm really glad that everybody was out and about today. So
yeah, thank you so much for spending time with us this morning.
Yes.
This awesome session was sponsored this week also by Arcane Wonders, and we love them almost as much as we love you.
And you can follow us on Facebook, on Instagram, and YouTube and Pinterest. And links are all in the description box below.
Enjoy your Friday and enjoy your holiday weekend if you're here in the US, and if not, just enjoy your weekend. And remember, next week, you're invited.